Why we struggle to trust people. If you've ever found yourself thinking, I just don't trust people anymore, there may be more behind that feeling than you realize. Often, distrust isn't something we're simply born with. It's something we learn. Maybe someone you trusted betrayed you. Maybe you opened up and were rejected. Maybe you grew up watching people break promises or hurt each other. And after enough experiences like that, your mind begins to make a connection. Getting close to people means getting hurt. So you become guarded. You stop expecting much from people. You tell yourself that you're simply being careful, but underneath that caution is often a very human desire to avoid experiencing the same pain again. From a psychological perspective, this is one of the ways we protect ourselves. When something hurts us, our brain tries to learn from it. If trusting someone resulted in pain, your mind may start scanning future relationships for anything that resembles that experience. A delayed response becomes a reason to worry. Someone becoming distant becomes a sign that they're leaving. A small lie can feel like evidence that you were right all along. And that's where things can become difficult. Your brain isn't necessarily asking, what is actually happening? It's asking, how can I make sure this doesn't happen to me again? Those are two very different questions. Eventually, that fear can start affecting the way you behave around people. You might hold back your feelings because being vulnerable feels unsafe. You might distance yourself before someone gets the opportunity to reject you. You might test people without realizing it, waiting to see whether they'll reach out first or whether they'll notice that something is wrong. And when they don't respond the way you hoped, it confirms your suspicion. See, I knew I couldn't trust them. But this can create a painful cycle. You fear abandonment, so you protect yourself from closeness. That protection creates distance. The other person feels the distance and pulls away. And their pulling away becomes proof that your fear was justified. Now, that doesn't mean your distrust is always misplaced. There are people who lie, manipulate, betray, and take advantage of others. Healthy trust doesn't require you to ignore those things. In fact, having boundaries is an important part of trusting people wisely. The difference is that healthy caution responds to what someone is actually doing, while fear often responds to what we think they might do. You don't have to trust someone immediately. Trust can develop slowly, through consistency. You watch whether their actions match their words. You notice how they handle your vulnerability. You see whether they take responsibility when they make mistakes. Over time, you're not blindly trusting them. You are gathering evidence that they are safe to trust. The difficult part is accepting that there will never be complete certainty. You can do everything right and still be hurt. You can choose someone carefully, and they can still disappoint you. That's simply part of being in relationships with other human beings. And for someone who has been hurt before, accepting that uncertainty can feel almost impossible. But healing doesn't necessarily mean reaching a point where you're completely certain that nobody will ever hurt you again. It means becoming confident enough in yourself that you know you can handle it if they do. You begin to realize, if someone betrays my trust, it will hurt, but it won't destroy me. That changes the way you approach relationships. So, if you've become someone who struggles to trust people, don't immediately see that part of yourself as broken. There is probably a reason you learned to protect yourself this way. At some point, those defenses may have been necessary. But you should also ask yourself whether the walls that once protected you are still protecting you, or whether they're keeping you isolated. You don't have to throw those walls down all at once. You can lower them slowly. You can let people earn your trust. You can maintain your boundaries while still allowing yourself to be known. Because the goal isn't to become someone who trusts everyone. It's to become someone who understands that being vulnerable is a risk, but living your entire life afraid of that risk comes with a cost of its own.